Hi everyone. Today we got Robyn Arrow joining us. So first of all, a little introduction about Robyn, and she has incredible background. She's the founder of Women Weightlifting Academy, and she's been involved with the health and fitness industry for over 40 years. It's so crazy. Like 40 years is a long time, and well, I'm so excited to talk to you today. And she was a nutritionist and fitness trainer for Elite and joined Casablanca's models. So clearly, she's worked with celebrities, athletics, professional people, and she's a trainer for bodybuilders and fitness competitors. And she's a weight loss coach who has helped individuals to lose between 10 to 400 pounds in her career. So that sounds crazy. And I usually have a very short introduction, but with you, I got to read out some of the incredible things that I read about you. So first of all, she's a teenage bodybuilder at St. Louis. She's Missouri overall champion, which I assume all this were like happening when you're really young. And she's done tri-state regional bodybuilder as champion, top 10 bodybuilder in the country, Miss Fitness champion, lots of titles. And she rollerblade across United States, she ran across United States, and she cycled across United States while working with community leaders and on child and bike safety issues. So crazy, amazing background. So welcome to my show, Robyn.
Thank you for having me, Z. Thank you.
So first of all, I'm super curious. I'm just reading your bio and just checking what you have done. It seems to me you start feeling interested in, say, fitness or bodybuilding at a very young age. So how did it all happen? Or did you like accidentally stumble across it? Or very young age on, you already say, this is what I want to do with my life?
Well, when I started, I was pretty young. And, I actually started when I was 6 years old. It was the first time that I lifted a dumbbell. And the reason being was because I wanted to try, it seemed like there was a lot of people in my immediate environment hurting each other. And as a little kid, it was like, how could this be? How could this be? And it was like, I have to help. I have to help. And as I was trying to make sense of how can I help, I slipped inside of myself and I felt this, if I could speak then, because I didn't really start speaking. It could have been from the trauma until I was a little over 4 years of age. And it was like, how can I help? And within that desire, I slipped inside of myself and I felt this place of, if I could talk then, a place of joy, peace, and sheer bliss and happiness. And so I knew it was that I had to share. And I tried and tried and tried. I mean, I was even learning super leadership, which most adults don't even know what that is by the time that I was 6. But to get to the question, I was in a grocery store with my mother, and I noticed this magazine, and it had bodybuilder, it had a guy bodybuilder and a woman bodybuilder on it. And when I looked at it, I knew instantly that that's what I needed to help me express my inner strength. Because it was like, how can this child, I began to realize, help these adults, right? But I had faith. I believed in myself and I believed in them. And so the minute I noticed that magazine, I knew that was going to help me. Little did I know that 40 plus years later, it's still helping me.
So tell me, like, I usually, I would say I'm pretty active and healthy. I have tried many forms of exercise, like say yoga, musculature exercise, which involve dumbbell, and I have been dancing for a long time. But is there a difference between what some people call bodybuilding versus just getting fit and going to the gym? Is that a particular saying that we like it's different when you go for bodybuilding training?
I think it really depends on, of course, what the individual is for. But as far as like helping, I think dancing is incredible. It's a great way to express self. And to me, that's what these the sports are about, really, to me. It helps impressionate upon oneself how to have that athletic mind, right? Because there's so many challenges in life, and oftentimes we don't know what to do with those challenges. The challenges get the best of us. And so when we have an opportunity to express who we are, it could be dancing, it could be calisthenics, it could be running, it could be walking, it could be bodybuilding. But I think what's so spectacular about bodybuilding is it does strengthen the body, unlike anything that I've seen. And so, especially as we get older, you know, our bones, our joints, and just being able to stand tall, and be strong. I don't think anything can beat bodybuilding.
Mm. So you have done so many competition or like really challenging things like ran, ride, rollerblade across US. So in your life, what do you think was the hardest thing you ever done in terms of more like the physical thing? I mean, we have different challenges in life, but or any competition you prepare for, anything like that you think was the hardest? And what have you learned from it by
I think
doing
the
it?
hardest, yeah, I think the hardest was just really getting started and knowing, you know, what to do. Knowing how to tap into that. It's kind of like getting trying to run and get, what would that be called? It's kind of like going uphill, you know, or a car that's not running that good and trying to drive it uphill. It's just not going to move very quick or very effective going up a hill. To me, I think the hardest part would be to get started.
Mm.
Once you get started, there's something, I think, within each person that just ignites. But I think we have to be able to connect with ourselves. The biggest issue, I think, and the reason why I think that what I'm talking about as far as getting started is hard, not just for me, but really mainstream, is because we're listening to everybody else. Do this, do that, do what I did, do what I, do now. And that's rarely will that ever work. So I would have to say getting started, with anything really. But the biggest, hardest thing for me was getting started with the bodybuilding because of what it took for me to realize the benefits of it. Finding something that would help me express my inner strength.
And once you started, it's kind of, there's no stopping you, isn't it? Because it seems like you're doing one thing after another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you have such an impressive record for helping people to lose weight. And I know that diet and exercise always linked together, like, it's a body, mind, and soul. Everything is integrated. It's the same with how we move and what we eat. And you mentioned on your website about how to build a diet around your lifestyle and your goals, but you still get good metabolism. And I have a feeling that you may not be like sort of championing, some diet, like some people sort of they kind of promoting eating very little in a way to get lean and toned body, and often what I've heard is that it will affect your metabolism. So what is your sort of like overview about the diet piece when we exercise? Can you tell us a little bit more about your tips, or what do you think it works generally?
I think what's really most important is what we were kind of tapping into early as far as getting started. And that's why I really enjoy working with people getting started, because it is hard when we have all these gadgets and all these people, rooting for our attention or seeing before and after photos. We are immediately wanting to ask, people that have impressive bodies, what do you do? It's all about the journey. So I know that what's most important is learning how to work with who you are, kind of like being a detective. And I'm not just talking about health foods, I'm talking about junk foods. In order to have effective weight loss, you need an effective body at work. So how do we do that? We're certainly not going to get that if we're trying to follow what everybody else does, right? And really, what are we doing that? Because that means that we're not really that valuable, right? We're putting ourselves on the back seat. And so, number one is learning how to work with who you are. Number two, what's really cool, what I learned throughout my studies and stuff throughout the years, is it takes 72 hours to store excess calories as fat, right? We think that if we eat a Twinkie or a muffin or whatever, that it's immediately plowed on our hips, right? But it's not. It takes 72 hours to store those excess calories. Now, the people that might understand this would be people like around the holidays. You see them jogging on the side of the road or walking, or they're going to the gym, and they're trying to burn up these calories. Well, you can do that also. If you're not into working out, you can do that with the way that you eat. And so what you want to do, the body loves stability, right? It just does. It's kind of like the chicken that knows that really can fly, but it doesn't. It's kind of lazy. It wants to hang out close to the ground. But our body just really has become subdued. So what we want to do, we can jack the metabolism up by having like these low, medium, high days, right? Because if you're having a low day, if you have a high day, then you have a low day after that, you're actually burning those excess calories from the high day because you're having that low day. And when you manipulate this, then your body doesn't really know what you're going to do from day after day after day. And so what that does alone is it's going to boost your metabolism also. Right?
Okay, that's really interesting. So I must ask now that, I have heard a little bit about this sort of cycling type of strategy where you have low day or medium day or high day or low day. So this is interesting because you said that our body loves stability, but we're trying to surprise our body a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And it takes 72 hours, so we can manipulate the time frame. But going back to what you said, first of all, we kind of need to do this to observe how our body react to get to know our body first. Is it right? Before we got it, like, oh, okay, so that's what we need to do. And finding yourself first will be the approach.
Yeah, that's really the main thing. That's the journey, is learning. And it really does focus, because now instead of you trying to keep up with everybody telling you eat this, don't eat this, eat at this time, don't eat at this time, come on, I mean, you're focused on yourself. You're not focused on all these people or all these programs out there telling you to be like them, right? And so your focus is on you. And so, like, for instance, I used to own 9 wellness centers too, and I had bunch of clients, but I was hit by a bus, and so I was gone for a very long time, and I'm just getting back into society from all of that. But like, one lady would say, she had a chocolate chip cookie, and she's like, I felt very tired and stressed after I ate that. And she's like, I feel like I'm a detective. I know now that I shouldn't eat that cookie. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And she goes, because I came up with this thing called Replace, Eliminate, Limit. It's called REL. And so you determine if something's working, like you feel tired, you feel bloated, you feel moody, stressed out really easier than normal. Then generally, we think that it's our spouse, our friends, our coworkers, our family. But no, our body, our essence is designed to handle challenges in life. More than likely, it's the foods you just consumed, right? And so it wasn't that she had to quit eating chocolate chip cookies at all, but she had chose another kind, right? And her body wasn't this stressed out. Another girl had went to a Mexican restaurant.
Wait. So I'm curious. So if chocolate chip cookie doesn't feel good, what could we replace it with?
Well, when I look at my system, what I created it, I'm not really looking at carbs or any of that, because that's everything that you're hearing on the market is bogus. Okay. It seriously is, all the way to calories, carbs, all that, which is another story. But it's about the ingredients. It's about the processed foods, right? So like on your low day, you would have a clean eating style, mainly fresh nuts or salads or meat by itself or fruits, vegetables, fruits even. And then like on a medium day, you would add a little bit of sweets. And on your high day is where you would have your carbs. See? And that's where you really, and it's really about processed foods more than anything, because once again, in order to have effective weight loss, you need an effective body at work, right? And so if we're consuming foods that work against the body, doesn't have to be healthy, but it can be processed, and the foods are changing so drastically nowadays. This is really significant to know, to tap into, because what might work for you today may not work for you, you know, another year from now, because the foods have changed. So it's really about the ingredients. And what she ended up doing was making her own, you know. She knew what ingredients were going in there. So one lady had consumed like a burrito, and she came to the wellness center, tears rolling down her face. And I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, I just ate a burrito. I went home and I gained 6 pounds just like that. And I'm like, okay, well, what do we need to do? Yes. You know, and I'm assuming it was like the MSGs or monosodium glutamate in that stuff. And so her body just responded. And see, the thing is, this is important, not just for weight loss, but energy, a better night's rest, but most importantly, for health. You know, it takes 20 years for the body to be actually, it's a lot sooner than that anymore. But in the many years ago, it would take 20 years for the body to be affected. Like, generally, the general rule of thumb in old school was that if you were 70 years old, you were more than likely going to get high blood pressure. And then it was 50 years of age. Then it was 20 years of age. I have conversations with women who their children are just getting put on high blood pressure. Okay.
Wow.
So it's right. And it's because of the foods. You know, the foods are really, that's a whole other thing. And it's really sad to see what's happening to our foods.
Yeah,
so it really is about the processed, you know, foods more than anything.
I definitely agree with you. Like, you know, I felt in terms of what we eat, say, I'm basically Asian background. I won't say what we eat now is very different from what I used to eat when I was little, but definitely it was much more processed now than, you know, when I was younger. But and I guess one of the thing about Asian diets, I found it's relatively less processed because, you know, we do a lot of stir fry or cooking from raw materials, and we don't really eat much like packaged food generally. But obviously that all is different now, and we have those, you know, microwave meals and stuff too in Asia. But I really adore, I definitely agree that processed food, it's not something that I feel good or doesn't even taste good. But our taste bud now doesn't even register the good taste when you're so used to processed food. So that's definitely my number one about processed food. And you also make me very curious about, you know, it seems like it's almost in science and art to observe our body. How do we feel? What happened? What should we change? And figure out the days, what high, what low, and what doesn't feel good, what feels good. So how do like a beginner comes to figure it out? It seems like it's in science and in art. Is it that hard, or it's once you get it, it's not that hard? I'm hoping.
Oh, it's really, really easy. I mean, most of the people, you know, that I've worked with all these years, I mean, they love it. They love the concept. They love the connection. And they like paying attention to what they're doing. They get it, you know, and people are excited about it. Generally, when people are focused on what somebody else is telling them to do, like follow what I do, they're heading for the hills. I mean, they know the next time they, like, say people have tried the diets and tried them, and then they're like, I have to lose weight. What happens? Generally, they're running for the hills for weeks or months or maybe even a year or two, you know, and because they're really intimidated by the fact that they're going to be uncomfortable and chances are they're not going to lose the weight, blah, blah, blah. This is something that people are running to. I mean, it really is fun. And it really does break, to me, what I've seen is it breaks the shackles. You know, it gives back that freedom that I can achieve. You know how powerful that is?
Yeah. To see results and see you could do this. But
yeah,
like,
and that's what I tell people. you don't even have to set goals. I'm like, let's not even set goals right now, because really, once you start seeing the success, you're going to start setting the goals. You're going to be reaching the goals faster than you could write them down, you know? So let's not even focus on goals. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
So tell us really, like, can you outline?
Can you see me in here?
It's okay. I can
it's
hear you perfectly,
okay.
but your son is right now. But
Okay.
this is so interesting. I can hear you perfectly. So tell us, outline what you do with people, or what you teach people, because it sounds like you have a different strategy. Can you outline them for us so we have a better understanding? I know you have a lot of information on your website, but if you can just tell us a little bit about what you do or outline your concepts or principle, that would be fantastic.
Well, I mean, the 72 hours, you mean mainly in the diet or the nutrition stuff or the exercise stuff? Like which one? Because I mean, I have everything that I have is color coded, you know, that works with that low, medium, high. I mean, I created this program when I was hit by that bus, which was in 94. You know, so I really originated that low, medium, high over 20 years ago, you know.
Tell
I
us a
think
bit
some
more
people try
about.
to.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No.
I mean, I think people have tried to take what I have, but I don't think a lot of people understand the true essence. See, too, I think my power that I have with my ability really comes from trying to help somebody for so long. I mean, I finally began to wake up. It was like something came to me like in my mid to late 20s, and it was like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And it was like, you can climb Mount Everest. You're going to be close to working with, you could work with, say, 1 million people, you know, but all you're trying to do is to help that one. And so my passion, I mean, in the beginning, see, I didn't really want to share what I knew and what I had captivated on in the very beginning. When I went to the gym for the first time, public gym, I mean, people were like, what the heck are you doing? Can you share this? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I mean, this was sacred for me. And I really just wanted to help the one. That's all that I wanted to do. And over time, it kind of started like marrying each other because everybody kept asking, help me, help me, help me, help me. And so my desire to help the one individual, my mother, and I was unsuccessful with it, started merging with my desire to help other people, you know? And that's why I think it's so powerful, because I felt a deep need to just and whenever it comes to weight loss, I can't be like everybody else, because if my desire truly is to help, and I'm not taking this away from other trainers, nutritionists, etc., but they're following mainstream is built on a fallacy, you know. When they put together what a calorie was, they were given, it was, I can't remember the school, was it Yale? I can't remember, but they had a major lobbyist, a company come in and give them millions, if not billions of dollars. This was like in the 1800s. And it was like, we need to find out what a calorie is, you know. So they took like 3 of their best scientists, and every time that they tried to take that kilowatt to determine what that calorie, what, you know, how much burned, how long it took to burn, like proteins are 4, carbs 4, fat 9. But every time they did this and took it through the kilowatt meter, they had a different number, right? Well, the dean comes to them and says, well, you know, this corporation, let's say, is getting a little antsy. We need to come up with some numbers. We need to give them these numbers. And the scientists are like, look, but we don't know what to give them because every time it's different. So the way that they came up with their numbers for the carbs, the proteins, and the fats was that they just averaged everything based on the fact that fat was more concentrated, double perhaps concentrated than protein and carbs. So, I mean, we're really basing everything mainstream on a fallacy that doesn't even exist. You know, those who succeed are the ones that find the needle in the haystack. And that needle in the haystack is learning what works for you.
Mm. I always like that approach about learning what works for you, because everybody's body is different, and this calorie counting definitely doesn't sound very solid if putting everything together. But also when the food, even the same piece of meat or fish, but if it is completely natural, organic, and not processed, versus something that it's put a lot of hormones, preservative, everything on it, I think it'll definitely be different with or without changes in calorie count, if we even can measure. So
and I mean, even the 1200 calorie, that's based on something that was designed, I can't remember the lady's name right now, but that was like in the 1912 or 1920 when the 1200 calorie thing it was a book she wrote, on 1200 calories. I mean, we're gone way beyond 100 years, still following this 1200 calorie thing. I mean, if your body's in effective working order, it doesn't really matter what kind of calories you're consuming, as long as you're consuming foods that work with your body to keep it effective. The body knows how to work. I mean, and this even works with building muscle.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much to be said.
I know it is so interesting, because it involves so many different aspects, and come back to that, like 1200 for women, maybe 14 for men. Look, I mean, some people walk to work, some people cycle to work, some people sit at home like to work. So that's already different, and different age. And,
some have more muscle.
Yeah, and different mass, different heights, and then sometimes we come back like, I'm a bit ill at the moment, so I'm a bit tired, so I have no appetite, and some days I'm more active appetite. It's like things changes all the time. I also don't like fixed rules, so I really like your approach to really understand our body and then observe it and then figure it out. So tell us a bit more about your 3-day program to help women to kickstart and get fit, because you said the beginning is the hardest. So tell us a bit more about your 3-day program.
The 3-day, there's three. It's a 3-day series, video series, and they're back to back. So the first day really goes into, my concepts with the low, medium, high, and how to work with who you are and what does that really mean. And then the second day, we go into the exercise essentials, where we're trying to now help build that foundation. Without that foundation, we're running to YouTube, we're doing random workout after workout, we're chasing the before and after photos. We go to the gym, sign up at the New Year's, but we never go back because we feel uncomfortable, we don't get it, And so really the exercise essentials are significant. We need that foundation. And then the third day goes into how to create a symmetrical body and an hourglass shape. And it doesn't matter, what kind of physique, body shape you have. You can still create an hourglass shape. It's all a perception. It's all an illusion. And when you have that knowledge, now you're like, okay, well, I have to have wider shoulders, or I have to have my legs flare out just a little bit. So I know I need to do this movement. I know I need to do this movement. And that gives you something to work towards, which therefore makes you want to go to the gym or work out. So that's the 3 days.
That sounds fantastic. And for people who are interested, I know that you have it all listed on your website. And would you like to tell us how people can sign up for this 3 days program? And I will make sure I also put the
because
link
it is
below.
free. So and it is for women. And it's at the Women's WOMEN Weightlifting Academy.com. So womenweightliftingacademy.com.
Great.
And I have a membership too, that helps individuals get started, build that foundation. And even it has the yoga and the meditations and all kinds of stuff. I take you guys I do a lot daily workouts too, from walking to bicycling to calisthenics to weightlifting to all kinds of stuff to help prep your body, to help build secondary, strengthen the ligaments, strengthen the bones, tendons, et cetera, et cetera. And then throughout the year, we get to work towards the intermediate levels, then we work towards the advanced levels, and then we really hone in on your bucket list. You know, what is it, that one thing that you'd really like to do? You know, is it climb Mount Everest? I'm joking, but not really. Is it, you know, competing in a bodybuilding show or a fitness show? Is it a trail, you know, run or a hike or biking across country, you know, kind of thing? And it's being able to take this thing that I really love is, you got to, for me anyways, is to keep reaching beyond, you know, my position so I can achieve all that I still have left to achieve.
Wow, that's very exciting. So I really like the idea that you got 3 days of free video programs so people get to know about your concept, your way of doing things, see whether that's something fit them. And, you know, sometimes people, I think it's so important that we have something like that to offer to people so they can have a sort of taste of the sample. And if they're serious about health and fitness, and if that like seems like something they want to do, then they can definitely sign up for membership or doing more like step by step. But you help people to do the hardest thing, which is kickstart, right? And with the membership, clearly you have different levels, and at the end you want to push people to achieve their bucket list. But it's like success doesn't come overnight, so so people have to, you know, do the baby step
You'd
first.
be amazed.
Yes?
See, you would be amazed. I mean, the average, you know, if I may, the average, when you learn how to work with who you are and these concepts, it's amazing how quick people lose weight. You know, I would say, like, if a person had to lose 30 to 40 pounds in the first 10 days alone, the average weight loss is about 12 pounds in 10 days.
Wow. But that's after they
And
figure out, they have to figure out what works first, and then.
No, not necessarily. I have like a system, because it came, you know, and when I was hit by the bus, I designed a book and a recipe book and stuff that went with it. It's a color-coded system, and that's really what led to my wellness center. Everybody was like, okay, I feel better, I've lost weight, now teach us how to work out. And so that's kind of how everything, you know, transpired. But there's meal plans and recipes that they're pretty, and they're not like recipes you would find online. Grocery shopping video galore, grocery shopping hacks. I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, stuff on there.
Sounds like you got lots of content for those who are
keen.
So it's been really wonderful, and I'm very excited. And also, I think, you know, it sounds like people from whether they want to be bikini ready or maybe after a baby or hit by a bus, that, you know, doesn't matter where you're at in your life, this system seems to be able to help people. And like, I don't have a lot of weight to lose. I mean, I think I'm okay. I feel okay with myself. But
you look good. You look great.
When we're getting older, I want to stay strong and fit. And you still know where you can improve. And I think, you know, it's so important to just keep learning. Like, that's my main thing, that doesn't matter how old you are, there's still more to learn and more to like improve on yourself or with others. So I think it's so exciting that you have so much content for us. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. I hope, you know, that I was able to present some material that inspires people to believe that, hey, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can achieve my goals.
Definitely. So
Thank you.
Put the link at the
Sorry, it's so dark out here.
That's okay. We can hear you. So I'm going to put the link at the bottom of the podcast and the blog so people can find you. But once again, if you people listening, is Women Weightlifting Academy.com. So thank you so much for today.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you.